1959. Facebook.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Blind View on a Thursday this time.
Alexa, stop!
And there's our host, Alexa.
Alexa, stop!
John Stewart, YEUP. Attachment, 51% charge.
Take it away, Beck.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. How is everybody tonight on this Thursday evening? I am glad you guys are joining us tonight. We usually air on Wednesday evenings. But yesterday was my sister's birthday, so we had a family dinner. So I appreciate our viewers and my co-hosts spending time with us this evening.
No notification from Outlook, YouTube.
Absolutely, Becca. Thank you for having me here this evening. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. I hope our viewers, if we have any, would enjoy today's conversation, and I'm glad to talk to everyone tonight in the group.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so does Anya want to get started with her topic first?
Sure, yeah, I can get started. And actually, I would need everybody's participation in this because I was trying to make it fun and engaging, kind of interactive. So each of us on this show is obviously blind. And I'm sure throughout our lifetime, we all have experienced, all have been into some awkward situations, moments that had to do with our blindness. Like they occurred because of our blindness. Something comical, something unforgettable. So if you guys, you knew my topic ahead of time. So I hope everybody has a story to share. So, and we can give a little laugh to our audience and see how this goes.
I do. And I smiled when I saw what you wanted to discuss. So do you want me to go first, or do you want to share your own first?
Oh no, you go first. You go first. I can go after. Or
Okay. Yeah. You better get ready. But I'm not very much of a tiptoe through the bushes kind of guy like that sound effect was. But maybe I should learn to be though more. This is what happened. I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So I was showing some other blind people how to get to the library from where we were. And so we were walking, and I said, you guys will probably notice there's a uniquely distinct smell as we walk through right here. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it is a good olfactory clue that we're about halfway there. Well, so then, yeah, and that was probably the look on the side of people's face that were with us because a little while later, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes later, one of the side of people came up to me and they were like, "Brandon, listen, I know what you were saying and I understand it, but dude, you also have to understand there's a big homeless encampment right there, and they probably all heard you say that, so you might want to be a little bit careful." And so I was just laughing because I had no idea, And then I even said, no, it wasn't that kind of a smell. It was like a paper mill type of smell, and they were like, "Yeah, you know what? Just stop talking." And so
I was just say that too, and then not even by accident. I mean, if it stinks, it stinks. If homeless people stink, I'm gonna say it. Sorry.
Well, it wasn't exactly stinky. It was just, I still don't know what it actually, what was contributing, but it was this unique smell, and every time, it was there a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you walk by a coffee house, there's a coffee house somewhere. I smell it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And every time I would walk there, I would notice that. But it was just funny. It was. I'm mature enough I can laugh at myself about it.
It's one of those, it's a very common thing. I'm sure you guys would agree that, yeah, like sometimes we cannot see. Well, we never can see who is around, and sometimes we say some crazy shit without even thinking that someone can overhear. That definitely happened. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But I'll tell you guys a story that happened to me maybe, a couple of years ago. We were here in town, and my husband and I went shopping, and so I was using my cane, and we got out of the store, and somehow we got separated. So my husband was ahead pushing the cart, and I somehow got behind a little bit.
Incoming
But
call.
it's fine, I was just following along. I could feel the cart, and I was following, and then
51%.
kept walking. Whose phone is talking?
I'm sorry, it's my phone. I'm just gonna turn the volume down
Double tap to
here.
open it. Actions available.
Yeah, so we kept walking, and
Select not to unlock.
walking away from the store, and I hear the car beep, like, bing, bing, like the car is being unlocked. So I
Okay.
walk up to it, and I open the door and start getting in, and I hear somebody say, uh-oh. And I was like, what? And my husband goes, Anya, wait, this is the wrong car. Oh my shit.
Oh, man.
Whoops.
Oh, man.
Well, the funniest, it was a giant black dude who was standing there, and this blind chick comes in, and if it was anybody else, people say, "Hey, you, beep, 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 beep. What the hell are you doing? What are you trying to do with my car?" But he could not think of a better word. He just said, "Uh-oh."
Uh-oh. Huh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
It was pretty embarrassing.
Oh, man.
I was like, "Oops, sorry. I just thought the car beeped identical to ours." So I was
Yeah, well, it was an identical beep, yeah.
yeah. So that's why
I-
I confidently opened the door and came in. So yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because I'm surprised he didn't notice that you
No,
were,
I
you were
wasn't
following him,
I was sure, and maybe the car height was the same. I didn't pay attention to the handle; I just yanked it open and started getting in.
Oh, man.
Same thing, and I think I've done the same thing once or twice, and I always feel lucky that the person in the car isn't like some crazy person with a gun that's going to shoot first and ask questions later.
Right.
It's kind of scary in today's world, even though we're blind. Most people understand, but a lot of people will react without getting the understanding first, of the situation.
Yeah, but this
Yeah.
guy, he was so well built. My husband told me he was super big dude. Nobody was.
Oh, yeah, he probably wasn't worried about anything.
He had no words. He didn't know how to respond to this situation with a blind person trying to get. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. Anybody else has a story related to their blindness incidents?
Oh,
I'm glad your husband was there. That could have been really, really awkward. And it's like, oh, well, where am I at now? And I don't know. Oh, yeah. I'm glad that had a happy ending.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Paul, do you have a story, or who was gonna
Go ahead, Becca. I think he was.
I have a story.
What's up?
So when I was about 15 or 16, like 3 or 4 years after the accident that blinded me, we were in Sydney, Montana at my grandparents' home for a few days. And I remember I woke up in the morning, and I had some vision back after the accident, but it was really blurry and it was pretty dysfunctional. But I found my way to the kitchen, and I went and I got a bowl, and I got some cereal, and I got a spoon, and I went to the refrigerator and got the gallon of milk. And then
Okay.
I went to the table and sat down and poured the cornflakes in the bowl and opened up the gallon of milk and started pouring it on there. And then I thought, wow, that smells sour.
Oh,
And I was half asleep. And it was a few years after my brain injury, and I wasn't thinking very clearly back then. And I remember I dug into my cornflakes, and then I realized why the milk smelled sour.
Yeah, why?
Because it wasn't milk, it was orange juice
Yeah.
that came in one of those, how a whole gallon of milk used to come in a plastic carton that you could identify easily by touch.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. And so I assumed it was my parents' milk. Well, it was their orange juice. And so I poured orange juice on my cereal. And like I said, I was half asleep. And so even though I was smelling this sweet, sour smell, my brain wasn't thinking, oh, that smells like orange juice. My brain was thinking, oh, I'm hungry. So I started, and then I'm thinking, wow, this is right.
Did you eat the cereal?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
No, I didn't eat the cereal.
Well, that's just a waste.
You would have discovered a whole new way of eating cereal.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but I mean, people eat cereal and drink orange juice, so I mean, it wouldn't have been that awkward.
Ooh,
I mean,
man,
awkward,
don't know.
Yeah, but I really do prefer milk on my cereal.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, good, good.
oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least it didn't involve any. It didn't. It did. Jeez, I cannot speak tonight. It did not involve anyone else. It was just you. But when it involves other people, that's kind of.
Did people get mad because you dumped the cereal?
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing, guys, because I'm not able to use my headphones. So what did you say? I didn't realize you were talking to me.
Oh, I just said, did people get mad because you dumped the cereal?
No, it was at my grandparents' house. And like I said, I was blind and I was about 15 years old. So
Yeah.
everybody just kind of laughed it off.
Oh, I gotcha.
And
I gotcha.
yeah, I mean, they understood, you know what I mean? And like, honestly, back then I was using my non-visual skills, even though I had never even heard of the phrase non-visual skills. I literally put my hand on the carton and it felt like milk. You know what I mean? Like a milk carton.
Well, and I think, even now, I think a lot of milk and orange juice, depending on the brand, does still feel like you can buy a gallon of orange juice, but they put it in the same kind of jug as milk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That out.
No, yeah, that's for sure.
But when I was a teenager, I wasn't really aware of it. And I'd always lived in a small town before that. So, out here in the city, there's a lot of stuff like that, like gallons of orange juice. Where I was at back then, we could usually find like the half gallons of orange juice, and they were in the cardboard cartons with the pour spout on the side.
Yeah.
And shit like that, And that's the kind of orange juice we had usually, not the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, and you, Paul, what happened to you, buddy?
Well, my story does involve someone, actually a couple of people, actually. So this was probably when I was about, 9 or 10 years old. And as I'd mentioned on the podcast, I have a lot of siblings. So we would always go fishing over the summer up in Alaska. And so we was fishing this particular weekend. And one of my older brothers, he decided to be obnoxious and rub sand all over my butt. We went dip netting. So that's on the beach.
That sounds like something that brothers would do, yeah.
Yeah, so he decides to rub sand all over my butt.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about, 5 years older than I am, 4 or 5 years older than I am. So he does that, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I got to get him back, obviously. So I grab a huge pile of sand. I grab big handfuls of sand, and I start running after him. And he's running away from me, and I'm going to catch him. And he's running, I'm catching him. And I take these 2 big handfuls of sand, and I rub them all over his butt. For the fact that I didn't. It was like a middle-aged woman who I didn't realize was there that I rubbed 2 handfuls of sand all over her butt.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
Yeah, let me tell you that. And I said, I'm so sorry. She goes, no, it's okay. Meanwhile, all of my siblings are standing beside me, 20 feet away, watching the whole thing, not stopping it whatsoever from happening, of course.
Oh my gosh.
But,
I just thought it was really embarrassing, that thing that happened to me, but I'll let Brandon go first. And Anya, or whatever.
Well, we've kind of touched on them, but yeah, that was super embarrassing. It was not funny then, but it's funny now. And the funny thing is I don't even.
I'm surprised the 2 of you aren't married now.
Oh, the middle-aged woman and I. Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, you said you were young, but you know what I'm saying. Remember the first time we met, you wiped sand all over my butt.
Maybe I should try that now. Maybe that works.
No, might not end as well as it did when you were a kid.
Well, you never know. It could depend on the woman. She might kind of be in. Well, never mind. Anyway, what's the next topic?
I mean, those things happen all the time. It's just, I mean, you can talk endlessly. Like on the boat when we were on a cruise, my husband shoved me into the bathroom, and it was because I had to go, and then I walked in and I started looking for the stall, and I'm looking around, and I hear some other people in the bathroom. Nobody's talking, so I have no idea. And then I'm still looking for the stall because those big ones like confusing sometimes. And then the door.
Yeah.
If I'm not messing it up, the story. I think Robert opened the door. Wait, this is men's bathroom. I'm touching the Yeah. And I heard somebody already standing washing their hands. So they saw me, and the gentleman saw me, and they didn't just say anything. Like, they just saw me walking in and looking for the stall. It was like, okay.
And it wasn't even like, it would have been better if it was a unisex one, like a family one.
No, it was just a regular men's bathroom.
Yeah, it was just a men.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Beckett, is there something that you wanted to say?
I did think of another embarrassing moment.
Okay.
Also in my teenage years, but it was like in the first year of my blindness. So I was totally blind at first, but I started getting light perception, black and some blurry shapes and stuff right away. And one day we were out in public, my parents and my little sisters and I, and back then I was a teenage girl and I was trying to show off that I could be like everybody else, any opportunity that I had. So I felt very awkward with my blindness, and my family felt awkward about it. And so I was trying to, like I said, show that I was normal. I could trick my family, right? And myself too, I think. And so anyway, we were out in public and I saw this brown thing swinging from left to right in front of me. And I jumped to the conclusion that it was a dog's tail. And I dropped to my knees and I said, "Oh, what a beautiful dog," right?
Uh-huh.
And it was actually a little girl's ponytail. And I remember my mom
Well, I'll end with this one because I know y'all want to talk about the rest of the topics on the schedule, but there was one that happened kind of recently with me. I was with some friends and I was in Costco, and I'm pretty good at putting my foot in my mouth. I ain't gonna lie about that. But I was in Costco with a couple of friends, and we was looking at clothes, or we was looking at something. And so one of my friends was doing sighted guide with me, so I was on her right.
Wait. Looking for clothes for who? For you or somebody else?
We was looking for clothes, I think, for them. There was two ladies I was with. And
wait, was them, her, and some other hers? Or how many females were you with?
I was with two.
Two? Were there any other guys there?
No, it was just me.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Sure. So there was three of us, and I was doing sighted guide with one, and the other one, who was behind us, was visually impaired. So we're walking in the aisle, and I hear someone using FaceTime. So I look back and go, "Hey, are you on FaceTime or something?" And the girl, who was not my friend, which I thought she was, she goes, "Yeah, I'm calling my mom." And I was like, sorry. I thought she was somebody else. So I'm so sorry. I was about to give her the business. Like, "Hey, man, we're in the store together. Like, don't be on FaceTime." But didn't have to do that.
That reminds me, actually, last time we were in Costco, my husband and I were in Costco, and we were standing by the fish department, like the frozen fish and stuff, and he was reading me off what they had, and I was trying to think what I wanted, like, and there was a lady in front of us, and then Robert totally talks to me, and he goes, "Well, would you already make up your mind or something?" and that lady just, what did she say? She was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And I'm talking to my wife to make up, "You're okay."
That's funny. But
that's
too funny.
It's funny.
Yeah,
Funny.
that's a little laughter, you guys. I mean, I'm sure we have tons of stories, but yeah, we should move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I guess it's Becca.
Yeah, so guys, my topic is the fentanyl situation. Have you guys heard about all the fentanyl busts that they've been making since Trump's been cracking down on the border and stuff like that? Have you guys been hearing about all the drugs that they're preventing? You know, they're
Actually, no. I where I'm still at is I know last year, I saw that's 2025. I saw a lot of parents in meetings with, various, representatives and senators and things like that, and they were calling for action to be taken. But I'm not sure about the latest, though.
Well, I heard that it's become harder to come by if you are in the market for fentanyl. So, I mean, I don't have junkie.
No, that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing.
I just read somewhere. Just reiterate, I don't have any junkie friends. I just read about it. So, yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, the border is closed tighter. I don't think it's 100% secure, although it's a huge improvement since the beginning, since the Biden. But I'm sure the criminals always find the ways to commit crimes. It's harder.
Trump has done a great job on the border, and he has also proven that our presidents or our the people who've been in charge for the last several decades have not really been doing their due diligence to do what's best for the American people. That's what I think.
Huh.
Yeah.
So do you know the latest, Becca? I mean, what is because so I know that like
what the stats were, but they were rattling them off this afternoon, and I think they were coming from New York City specifically, and they were talking about how many people used to die of fentanyl and how much fentanyl was on the streets and stuff before, and now they're having like thousands of fentanyl arrests, right? And all these fentanyl busts, and it just really got me excited, because like the number of deaths has gone down drastically and the number of busts has gone up. And it just feels good that our law enforcement and our drug what are the people called that go after the drugs? It's not the FDA, but it's the
DEA.
The what?
DEA.
The DEA. Yeah, it feels good that the DEA and our federal government overall, it feels like they're finally trying to do something about the drug problem to help protect us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, when I hear about arrests, it's good, but I would like to hear the end of the story. I'd like to see actual prosecution and actual prison sentencing, because arrest is just a very basic first step. It's a good step, but when people are caught and released, it's not good progress. I'm not saying this is happening, but
I'm absolutely with you.
Well, but isn't it true that some of them have been designated as foreign terrorist organizations, though?
Yeah, but have you heard of any prosecutions? Like actual
No. But I'm saying if you get arrested and are found to be working with who has been classified and designated as a foreign terrorist organization, I don't think you're going to be getting out in 72 hours.
Yeah.
I hope not.
The thing is, they're enforcing a lot of laws that were never enforced in the past, and I'm excited about it. I feel like the future for our children and grandchildren is going to be better, anyway.
Yeah, hopefully so. But again, I'm always cautious about this. I mean, it's not exactly about fentanyl, but still about arrests and stuff. You guys all saw about like he was arrested and he was let go. Like he lawyered up, and if they arrested, they should have gone all the way through, and we should see more, more happening in this regard. But now all we see is, it's a joke.
So can I say something?
Yeah.
So sometimes here's the way I think the criminal justice system works. So they find you, they find out who you are, and they find out that there's a warrant for your arrest. So they arrest you, right? And then you go to jail, you're in jail, and then when you go to court, the the judge says, how do you plead innocent or guilty? And you say you tell the judge how you plead, and then the judge sets a date in the future for your hearing. A lot of times those people are released from jail until that hearing. And I think that's why you're confused, Anya, because I think they're released from jail until their hearing.
Well, I know this much. I know that here in Arizona, actually, especially down around Tucson, like we are known as or have been known as kind of a trafficking corridor. And unfortunately, there's been high-ranking people, to include judges and CBP personnel and DHS personnel, who have all been implicated. There was, I guess, a massive operation, I think in 2025, actually, when a whole bunch of people were taken down and arrested. But they waited until they had all the evidence they needed, and then they just got them all at once, like same day, same time. And I think that's really good. But it was pretty shocking to me. It's like, wow, man, the corruption, I guess, goes up to high levels. Even right here in Arizona.
Everywhere. And then we have a problem with liberal judges who just let people off the hook easily.
Right, and that's what's happening. But I mean, does that frighten any of the rest of you? It's like, okay, he or she is a judge, right? I mean, they're supposed to be impartial. I mean, I don't know, call me naive or whatever, right? But I don't think I'm naive. Judges are supposed to be impartial renderers of the law.
Yeah, but now they're more
Let me tell you, Brandon, judges don't necessarily hold those sacred vows sacred in their own lives. When I was up in Montana and I was fighting that guardianship, I got plenty of flack from the judges. You know what? They would dismiss me because I wasn't a freaking lawyer, and they were friends with the judges, knew the lawyers I was fighting against, you know? And I just don't think judges are always, because they're just human beings. Mm-hmm. And it's too easy for them to let their personal knowledge or personal experience or personal likes and dislikes get in the way, and so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of judges that really rule incorrectly in situations because they go based on their own feelings or their own gut or their own personal beliefs. And I mean, that's what I found in my situation. And I literally had to point out to the court that the law was not being followed, that my rights were being violated, you know? And it's because, like I said, these judges, they just don't think anymore about the vows they take when they become judges, you know? And you know, God, I believe, holds judges in higher, God holds judges to a higher account, you know what I mean? Because of the position he puts them in life. But judges don't take that seriously anymore. They don't consider it as sacred, you know what I mean? And they don't consider the law sacred anymore. That's what I found. They weren't looking at the law in my situation. Like I said, I had to look at the law and then point it out to them. And it really irritated me. And that shit goes on in a lot of cases, I think. So I think people need to make sure they're educated so they can point shit out in their own case.
Yeah, especially with politics, you know, this country is so inflamed right now. So, and lots of judges are not even concerned with the Constitution. They just act on their feelings. Yeah. So that's all to that.
It's a sad thing. I guess I'll talk with you guys more on the other side.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We'll be right back. Hi, it's me, your favorite author, Rebecca S. Meadows, here with another message. You know, you can go up to Amazon and search Rebecca Meadows author to get your hands on each of my books. And each book is available in Kindle, digital download, Amazon print on demand, or on Audible. So enjoy, and please send me an email at beccameadows76@gmail.com and let me know what you thought of my book, okay? Oh, and please go up and write a review for me too. Thank you. Peace out. Are you guys there?
All right. Looks like we
Yeah.
are back and ready to go again.
Right.
Yeah. Who is going next, gentlemen?
Well,
Go ahead.
I don't know. I guess it needs to be you and me, Paul.
No, go ahead. Yeah, we can do it alphabetical order.
All right. Well, yeah. So my topic of discussion for this evening is the so-called hierarchy of sight. So let me just ask you guys: have you guys heard that term before or no?
Absolutely. My question is, why is it so called?
So you've heard it, Anya. What about the rest of you?
I haven't heard it, but when you say hierarchy of sight, I totally know what you're getting at.
Okay, and what about you, Paul?
I have heard it before, only in the context of people within the National Federation of the Blind. So would you mind explaining it to us, what that is, to those who may not know what that is?
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. And in fact,
Are you perhaps referring to the hierarchy of blindness?
no, I refer to it as a hierarchy of sight.
Okay.
And I appreciate having terminology to identify this pernicious behavior. And basically,
Behavior on the part of sighted people, you mean?
huh?
Are you talking about pernicious behavior on the part of sighted people?
Well, actually, it affects sighted and blind people.
Okay.
But I mean, so to me, the hierarchy of sight, the so-called hierarchy of sight, yeah, I call it that because it is primarily talked about within the National Federation of the Blind, and I haven't heard it really referred to as that outside of that organization either. But as I say, I think it's nice to have terminology because I have noticed it, and it's just basically like the idea that so many things about society presume that a person has sight. And it's, you know, for example, people think that you can either see fully or all you see is black. They think it's either a yes or a no, an up or a down, an on or an off. And that in and of itself is not true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are gradations of blindness. And you know, I mean, just so many things are designed for visual-based learning. I'm thinking of the educational system is very, very much designed for visual-based learning. You know, a lot of the STEM projects and things like that right now are, you know, designed, like built from the ground up from a purely visual perspective. For example, it's just common thing. People say, now look up here at the board and I'm going to show you how to solve this problem, right? I mean, that works for everybody else. Or, you know, YouTube videos will say, okay, so what you do is you take this purple cable here and you attach it to this orange lead here. You see what I'm doing? And that creates a good solid connection. But it's like, no, I don't. See, but the whole video is just inherently designed. And then where blind people are concerned, the hierarchy of sight comes in when, you know, I get it that losing your sight is a traumatic experience. I understand that. Not that I've lived that. I've been blind since birth, but I just imagine, you know, what it would be like for me to lose another one of my senses, and that would be traumatic. But I would encourage all of you, you know, if you have been diagnosed with a condition where you pretty much know that eventually you are going to progressively lose vision, just try to do your best to incorporate what are called non-visual techniques as much as possible, because it's going to make your life so much easier. You're going to have a lot fewer headaches. You're going to feel a lot less stressed.
Robert, what is that?
So, Brandon, you should tell our viewers where they can learn more about these non-visual techniques if they've never heard of that.
Well, there's a variety of places that you can go and organizations that you can go to. But I will just say the two leading blindness organizations, and I know if you hate that word blindness, I'm like, no. Well, I'm not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. Listen, you need to at least know who is here to help you, because I'll bet you nobody in your immediate or extended family knows how to help you, do they? And that is also sad, but there are organizations that can help. And two of the leading ones are the American Council of the Blind and the National Federation of the Blind. They operate training centers for people who are blind. And, I'll put it to you like this. I think it's funny how sighted people freak out when the power goes out, and I'm just fine.
Right.
Because I have non-visual skills. I have non-visual techniques, and it's like, you think it's so bad to be blind, but why do you rely so exclusively almost on a single sense when, high-level martial arts practitioners, for example, are taught to tune into all of their senses? So that's kind of my little explanation of it's just so many things are designed from a visual first perspective, and there's not a lot of consideration for people with other disabilities, visual, cognitive, hearing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think
Brandon, that was very well thought out and very well presented. Thank you so much.
I would say that the sense of sight, that sense that most of us in fact have, obviously the people on this podcast, we don't, but that's I think people say like 70 or 80% of how they function is with that, and that's something as small as saying their body language to just looking at signs on the airport, where to go, well, that's a big deal. So I think that's why you see a lot in, YouTube videos or in those kinds of things. You see people say, look here. It doesn't help us, but 70% of people, whatever the number is, 80% of the people that are watching those videos can see. So I don't think people necessarily do it intentionally to be unkind or to be rude. I just think they don't think about it because the amount of people that are blind or visually impaired our pool is so small compared to the pool of people who do have vision.
Yeah, very good point.
That's true. Yeah.
I also wanted to. Are you done, Paul?
Go ahead.
Well, if you're not, go ahead and finish because I don't want to interrupt.
No, I ain't got nothing important to say ever. But go ahead.
So let me
Paul,
bring this up though, because the amount of blind people in this country is going to increase because there's more and more people retiring from the workforce that have eye conditions, and so in defense of blind people, how are we any less important than the homosexuals, than the animal rights people, than the Save the Children people? Why are we less important than that?
Well, so Brandon, for one thing, we are a minority, and those things you were saying, like Save the Whales, those are organizations that fundraise. What you're talking about is how are we less important as a minority? You know what I mean? Like,
right. I don't think we are. I don't think we are less important.
Honestly, I feel like, at least when it comes to the disabled world, I feel like as blind people, we are like the strongest disability, the most active disability, the ones who go out and get shit done to help all the disabilities. Like it seems like the major changes to help the disabled, like the handicap signs and stuff. Who is it that goes to Congress and yells and complains and gets our Congress people to pass laws, making sure stuff is accessible and all of that? It's usually the National Federation of the Blind. I haven't heard of any wheelchair groups going to Congress or deaf groups going to Congress or people autism groups going to Congress. Have you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Have you
they
guys heard
do.
of them?
They do.
They do.
Oh, they do?
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Um,
had no idea.
yeah, no, I mean, if you look at what do they call it? Live captioning. That's for the hearing impaired or people that are deaf.
Yeah, but
You know,
that's something that the TV people produced. I don't think that Congress passed a law making them do it, but the National Federation of the Blind goes to Congress every year to push Congress to pass laws that will protect blind people and people of other disabilities, and that will make accommodations for people of all disabilities in colleges and workplaces and residences and stuff. You know what I mean?
No, it is in fact the law. They have to do sign language. It is the law. Yeah.
go
But
ahead.
I wanted to say though, we talked about hierarchy of sight, and this is not exactly what I think of when I think of hierarchy of sight. Hierarchy is like a ladder, right? Like bottom up, 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 up.
Right.
So the way again, I want to say that it does expand beyond the National Federation of the Blind, for sure. I grew up with it in my blind school. There was definitely a hierarchy, and the way it is, like, if you see very well, you are quote unquote the coolest kid. Then if you see worse, and then if you're at the bottom of the chain, let's put it this way, like, you'll be the kid, even within the blind community, you would be kind of on the sidelines. So, and yeah, you're more accepted in the groups that, that they have some residual vision. And in the blind school, yes, they're trying to kind of minimize the impact. They're trying to include everybody. At least I'm talking about my experience. Yeah, but still, there is that hierarchy. Oh, you cannot see. Oh, I can see a little bit better. Let me help you. Even people like understanding blindness, even going through the training, a lot of times they still see themselves as a little bit better than who cannot see. That's what I think of when I think of a hierarchy.
Yeah, but see, you had that lived experience.
So can I tell you guys what I think about that? I think
Sure.
Ann is absolutely right. I remember when I lived in Montana when I was a teenager, when I went to the deaf and blind school and I already had some like perception and stuff, I was like a leader in a lot of things. Like, honestly, a lot of times it was mischief. I was leading my blind peers. But I was the one like saying, hey guys, what do you think about us doing this, right? Or that, right? And it was because I had some vision and because I was mischievous that way. And now once and back then I didn't know very many blind people other than at the deaf and blind school, because my parents pulled me out of the deaf and blind school after a year and a half. And I spent the rest of my time in public school, except for the summers when I got to spend a week at blind camp, right?
Mhm.
But when I became an adult and I joined the National Federation of the Blind, and suddenly I was meeting more blind people, and I went to my first blind immersion training center, I quickly realized that I was no longer at the top of the ladder when it came to the blind hierarchy like I was in Montana. I was way down at the bottom, because the people in the National Federation of the Blind, many of them like Brandon, who've been blind their whole lives, have far better skills than I will ever have. You know what I mean? Because I have some vision. People who are totally blind, and especially those who've been blind their whole lives, have excellent skills. And even the ones who haven't been given formal training have very good skills. But if they get formal training, like at these blind immersion training centers, the ones who've been blind their whole lives, they are the best at reading Braille, it seems like, the best at picking up the JAWS commands, all the stuff on the computer. It just seems like they pick it up faster. And
That's interesting.
And
I never thought about that.
Because like they never had to go through the adjusting to the blindness like I had to, and so many other people who haven't been blind their whole lives, and they don't have partial sight getting in their way and messing stuff up for them all the time, like those of us who have some sight deal with. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's not that I'm against sight, but I mean, when someone has 2% visual acuity left, I mean, it's not worth relying on, is it? I mean, because, okay, but have you noticed, Becca, that the non-visual skills that you have did they? Am I right in what I said? Did they make your life easier than trying to rely on your vision?
Oh my God, my life became so much easier. Like, so 8 years after the accident, I finally got a cane, right? And the cane made my life so much easier because I wasn't falling down and stuff all the time anymore. And I thought, wow, I got this blind thing figured out. But when I went and got my blind immersion training, oh my God, Brandon, yes, the training is amazing. It really, like, I went from someone who was just getting along in life okay to someone who could suddenly follow her dreams and pursue her goals in life.
Right, but
that's what I'm saying.
And that's thanks to the training.
But you had to have a right mindset to go to that training. And people who never saw the training as something, like changing your entire life, you start using the cane or your dog or whatever. But if they live in their bubble and they rely on their little vision, they think it's the way to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they think it's the only way to be. They think their life will be over if they lose sight, but it doesn't have to be.
And speaking of over, this segment is over, so we'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back after these messages.
We'll be right back after these messages. Hey, everybody, are you enjoying the show? Are you enjoying the books? Are you enjoying everything we're doing here at Blue Butterfly Enterprises? If so, go up to bluebutterflyenterprises.com and check out our store and buy some of our memorabilia. Wouldn't it be cool to have a Becca's World hat or t-shirt or coffee mug or bumper sticker for your car? I'm going to get one for my car when I get a car that I can drive.
All right, and it looks like I guess we're back.
Yep, we're back.
We are. All right.
Yeah,
I just want to kind of say this, and this isn't to be disparaging or unkind to those who cannot see, but I do think I understand what y'all are saying about the hierarchy of sight and how many people maybe view that as if they can see, they're better than those who can't. And I think that unfortunately society is still in that mindset. And what I mean by that is I do believe that most of society does pity us. Most of society does not think that we are very capable. And I don't like that, but that's how it is. And I think that we have to prove in whatever that way is that we are in fact capable. And what I will say with that is, for me, I've talked to people about the term the hierarchy of sight, and I personally don't use that term because I think that we should be trying to educate people with our actions and not just talking about why people have the hierarchy of sight. When you say to someone who can see, oh, well, that's why you can do that because you of the hierarchy of sight, they're going to look at you and go, what the heck are you talking about? I don't even know what you're saying. And so now you have to explain that. But I'd rather you as a blind person just explain to them why it's something maybe that it needs to be adapted or how you do it instead versus explaining to them the hierarchy of sight, because I think to most people it's not going to make a lot of sense.
Maybe that's true. And I'm absolutely willing to demonstrate my competency. So
that's kind of where I'm thinking on that. Go ahead, Anya.
Oh, no. I just interjected when you said that's how it is with the society. I said, I'm afraid that's how it will be. No matter how we try. I mean, maybe somebody would say I'm pessimistic, but yeah, I mean, I still think that people are going to pity us all the time. Like, there's no way around it. Because even within our community, there are people of different competency levels. And there are people who need a lot more help, and they get that help. And, for a sighted person to close their eyes, it's a complete freak out. So, and the majority of the world is sighted. So, I mean,
listen, if they feel pity but they make it accessible, I'll accept that, and then I'll chuckle to myself when they have visual problems. Oh, Now you get it, huh?
You know, it's really crazy. So many people do lose their vision later in life, and they never think about it till it happens to them. And if they thought about it beforehand, they'd be more prepared.
I know. I'm just thinking of some smug software developer. Okay, I'll do that. You know, there's a lot of these blind people out there calling for this, so fine. I'll go rewrite it so it's accessible. Fine. And then, you know, he's in a car wreck and loses his vision, and suddenly, oh, it's different now, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you're talking of a very rare circumstance. I mean, that could happen, but let's be real. Most likely,
no. HBO did not want to make their content accessible. You think HBO is just some little tiny broadcaster? No, they're not. HBO tried to say, oh, we don't know how to do it. We don't have the technical capability. Really? I don't want to hear.
Go ahead, Becca.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
I think we should see what Paul has to say about the.
Yeah, speaking of HBO and spending money, which I don't spend money for.
Yeah.
Well, I
do spend money for other things, but not HBO.
Well, I do spend a lot of money on things as well, and some people probably say that I shouldn't spend the money on what I do, in fact, spend the money on, but that's a topic of another discussion. I think kind of my question or my topic that I wanted to kind of talk about is there something that as a blind person you feel like you spend more money on because you are visually impaired versus if you wasn't? Now, the example that I'm going to give is when I fly, and I fly at least once. Last year, I was flying quite a bit, actually, for a tougher situation in life. But I think last year I flew about 6 times, which is really something. And whenever I fly, I know most people will find the cheapest tickets when they fly, but I do not. I will find the ticket that has the shortest layover possible, because as a blind person, I don't want to be missed. And by that, I mean, the longer the layover, the more of a chance that the airline has to move the gate, or there's more of a chance where someone will forget about you, because that could happen. And so for me, I'll spend more than maybe other people might who can see, because they don't have to worry about those things. And so is there something, excuse me, that you feel like as a blind person, you spend more on, maybe not necessarily because you need to, but maybe because in this circumstance, I don't technically need to, but it gives me more of a peace of mind. So is there anything that y'all do that with?
I wanted to ask a question right away. You said about the ticket and the shortest layover. I see the problem with that right away. And correct me.
I look for the longest layover.
Well, I wouldn't say I would look for the longest. No, I wouldn't do either.
I don't want to
That's happened to me when you arrive to the airport and you have very little time to get somewhere. And I don't know if you go by yourself, but I prefer, if I'm not traveling with a family member, I prefer to use assistance, especially when there's so little time. I have to wait for someone. And if someone doesn't show on time, I'll be freaking out and waiting for them. And I don't know how quickly they can get me there. So, I mean, I would give myself extra time. That's why I'm kind of confused. Why would you want to pick this shortest one? And if you don't know.
Sure, that's a good question. If the layover is, say, less than 45 minutes, I won't take it. But if it's, say, 45 minutes, connecting flight from, say, I'm going from here in California to Alaska, and usually you either have to stop in Portland or Washington. Yes, I said Washington. Go ahead, put it on a sample. If you have to stop at, say, Washington, Seattle, that is, I will not get the flight if the layover is less than 45 minutes, generally speaking. So generally, I do want it to be about 45 minutes. But if, and there have been times when I have chosen maybe a 30-minute layover, I know that the people say, you know, wait for us to come get you. Yeah, that's not happening. I'm getting off like everybody else, and I'm going to be a jerkwad, and I am going to make sure that I'm on that plane in 30 minutes. It happens. Sorry. It happens. So, I generally try to wait for I try to get a 45-minute layover if I can, around that, 45 to an hour. That's pretty good time. But there are times.
again,
Well,
that idea that you have to wait to deboard the plane, again, hierarchy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I usually
well,
just
just
put
wait
the
and we'll
other
come get you.
passengers off.
No, I can deboard with everybody else.
Mhm.
yeah, but they want to make sure that they have a meet and assist for you. But I'm sorry, sometimes I can't wait. And sometimes, by the way, they don't have one of those anyway. So one time when I was flying, and I think I told the story on the podcast, the airline, which I won't out them, I think they forgot about me, and it was the busy season. And actually, this was kind of a situation, Anya, that you mentioned. My first flight was late, and so I had 45 minutes or an hour, I thought, but we was late by about 30 minutes. So I only had about 15.
Mhm.
So yeah, there was a couple who seen me, or a guy who seen me when I got off the flight and said, "Where are you trying to go?" And I thought he was a meet and assist person. I said, "I need to get to flight, 376 or whatever the number was, going to Alaska." He goes, "Okay, I'll help you." So we literally ran through the airport and we made it. Barely, but we made it. So
Yeah, but if you were without that assistant and all going by yourself, you wouldn't be running through the airport, though.
well, yeah, in that case, I would have had to
To miss your
to
flight.
wait for someone, and yeah, I could have in that case missed my flight. But I will tell you, admittedly, I always do fly by myself, and as of this point, I haven't had an issue with missing a flight. So hopefully that doesn't happen. You may have just jinxed me.
I hope
Well,
not.
why do you, Becca, try to take the longest schedule?
Because like somebody mentioned, if the arriving flight is late and if the gate in Salt Lake City, I think it was one time my flight was late getting there and my connecting gate was like all the way on the other end of the airport. And I jumped in the wheelchair. I was going to walk with the assistant, right? But I jumped in the wheelchair and he hustled me through the airport and through shortcuts and shit to get me to my gate because he knew the airport and I was going to miss my gate because of that. And so that's why I always try to get the longest layover. So if my arriving flight is late, I'll have more time to get to my connecting gate.
What if your layover is like 6 hours, dude? I ain't waiting 6 hours in an airport. The food's too expensive. They don't have pizza.
Not 6 hours, but like I think the only time you might have a layover that big is if you're flying overseas to London or something.
No,
right?
no, you can get layovers that big flying domestically as well. Trust me,
Yeah.
I've seen them, and they are cheaper. But I ain't doing that.
No.
Well, so it's interesting, you guys. I'm going to be flying in March with my family, and on that particular flight, it is a nonstop flight. But I almost never get nonstop flights. Never. I almost always have at least one layover, sometimes two, and I don't care. I'm okay with that. I've never missed a flight, but I guess maybe I'm just fortunate in that way because I can see where. I mean, like I guess if you got off one plane and you had to get on another one in a very short period of time, but in the airline's defense, you know that when you're making the reservation. So
Hey, did you guys know that Allegiant Airline has direct flights, so you won't ever have a connecting flight that you might miss?
I've never flown with them. I didn't know that.
No, I did not know
That's
that.
Allegiant Airlines, and their tickets are pretty cheap too. You guys should check them out.
I
They're
would
not,
love
they're not paying you to say that, are they?
No, they're not. But let me
Okay.
hear Allegiant Airline. They usually have like between here and Mesa, where I used to live, they have like one flight a day going there and one flight a day coming back this way, right? So if that one flight gets canceled due to weather or due to technical or electronic difficulties on the plane, you're SOL, right?
Yeah.
And like I was pretty heartbroken one year because I was on my way to the airport to catch an Allegiant flight home to see my kids, and I was on the way to the airport when I got notification from Allegiant that they canceled my flight, and
Oof.
I couldn't get another flight out that day. Honestly, I thought about booking a flight with Delta just so I could get home, but that's a lot of money, after I already lost the plane ticket because they canceled my flight.
Now, what I will say is that I do always pay for insurance should something happen, and that has proven to be something worth paying for because you don't have to pay as much should there be an issue with the flight. And there have been issues with flights that I've gone on to where there was some weather issues, and I had to call the airline company, and they had to kind of redirect all my plans. So that has happened before. What I also will say, though, in terms of flying, though, is that as someone who's flown by himself quite a bit, I do kind of think that some airlines are maybe more accommodating to us that are visually impaired. And yeah, Brandon, it is very nice to have a nonstop flight. I
almost
rarely
never
ever
get
those.
that. I happen to have it. I literally think this is the only time in my life coming up here in March that I've ever had it, and I almost never have that.
By choice, or just it happens to be that way?
No. It just happens to be that way. I mean, normally if you want nonstop, that's more expensive. So I'm like, no, I'm not paying for that.
No,
I'm
I'd
like,
rather have nonstop, like definitely, because it increases
oh,
chances to
no.
miss the next flight, and you'll be delayed, and all your plans go down the drain. I mean, no.
that's never happened to me.
Plus you-
But all my layovers were like an hour and a half. I mean,
Hey
I
guys,
just
you know
thought
what?
that was common, huh?
You know why it's bad to have layovers? You know why? Another reason why I try to avoid layovers.
You try it, man. I like it.
Dude, I'm the same way. If there's a nonstop flight, I'll take it.
Airline, I've heard that most airline crashes and stuff occur during takeoff or landing. So if you have to if you're not flying directly to your destination and you have to stop somewhere, for each place you stop, that's an additional landing and takeoff that you have to go through. So it's another 2 chances that you could die.
Okay, you know
Live
what?
dangerously, people.
Okay, you know what?
People,
But
be
hang on a second.
brave.
How many times do we get in our cars every single day? There's more accidents and more deaths in a car than there is every year on a plane. I just like to point that out.
I know, but I was just talking about, they say when it comes to flying that more accidents occur during takeoff and landing than during regular flight.
I do think
That's
you
all
are
I'm
correct in
saying.
that. I do
I'm
think
not
you are
trying
correct in that.
Driving a
No,
car.
she is. I've participated in some pilot training. She is correct, and yeah,
Yeah,
and
most,
it's because the pilots have to do everything.
yeah. Well, I mean, we did touch a little bit. If you want, we can continue next time about.
I would, because I'm very curious about what y'all kind of spend more money on more as
I
blind
spend in
people.
other ways, and I'm not happy about it. But we can talk about that more
I
in
think
the
we
next
spend more on
show.
transportation and communication than our sighted peers.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well, I guess we'll have to kind of get into that more a little bit next time.
all
Ladies
right.
and gentlemen, be sure to tune in next time so you can hear that exciting conversation, plus so much more, right here with the cool crew from The Blind View.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Sounds
guys.
good.
Bye now.
Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.